Onto this now. It's been months since parents shut down Soweto's Rathebe Junior Secondary School, demanding the removal of the principal there. They accuse the school's head teacher of absenteeism. Parents have also complained about collapsing infrastructure at the school. Now, after a meeting with the Gauteng Education Department, a caretaker principal was appointed while investigations were ongoing. Now, eNCA's Aviwe Mtila was at the school this morning to find out the state of play, and he joins us live here in the studio now. Aviwe, you were out there in July and now were able to follow up. What's the state of play at the school right now?
Thank you, Marcel. I was there on the 19th of July when schools reopened for the third term. Parents wanted to shut it down, saying that the principal had been away since last year, March. So they're saying that that's unacceptable. And the other complaint was around the condition of the school itself. It's a well-built school when you see it from the outside, but go inside and look at things like the toilets, for example. Really disgusting. It's 2 toilets that are working, a boys' and a girls' toilet for 941 students. It's inhabitable at all. You look at the infrastructure, for example, the roofs are leaking. Just around the school, windows are broken, and there's just garbage all around. So there were promises made on that 19th of July where the district Department of Health was, Education, I beg your pardon, was there, accompanied by Steve Mabona, where they promised within 14 days all will be resolved. They'd have a caretaker principal to find out what's the exact cause of the current principal being away. So those promises were made, but it was shocking to come back today to see the school in the exact state that it was when I left it in the 19th of July. And I was told shockingly that 1.9 million rand had actually been spent to fix some of the infrastructure woes of the school, which I can't see at all. In fact, it's an issue that I touched with the Member of Parliament, Dr. Ntombi Kumalo, as she did an oversight visit, in fact, just on the Monday. This is what she had to say.
Since the 19th of July, not a lot has happened. So from the day, a task team was put together to do some oversight and to try and drive the changes that needed to happen. And yes, the school principal has been off since last year in March. She has been ill and she hasn't been at school since. So that obviously does place some leadership instability in the running of the school and the operations, including the financial management, also resulting in impacting some of the financial things that need to be done in that regard, because she's not there as a signatory. And for some period of time since July, there hasn't been an acting principal till the end of July. So for 2 weeks since we were together, there was no leadership in the school. And of course, you see it in the conditions of the school as in the condition that it is currently. I came here on Monday to see the kind of changes, because I do know that money was paid out under 2 million rands to do and refurbish the infrastructure, to fix the toilets and a number of things. The number of chairs and tables in the schools also a shortage in that regard, but nothing much has happened. The department is quite frankly happy with the condition of the toilets and happy with what the 2 million, just under 2 million has done. So the learners still to date have no toilets to use. There's literally only 2 toilets for 941. The taps that are working in the school, only 2 points for water, access to water for the kids in the school. So really nothing much has happened in the school. The gutters, a lot of safety issues, the building also, deliberate, kind of like deteriorating as well. So there's a lot going wrong in the school. There's a lot that hasn't changed since the promises that were made, and the department seems to just be comfortable with that.
Okay, Aviwe, 2 things. You said 1.9 million rand had apparently been spent since July, since these issues were made apparent. Where was that 1.9 million spent? Surely not in the toilets that we just saw there. And then secondly, list of promises made by Steve Mabona from the Gauteng Education Department. What's happened to those promises?
So to start with the first one, I saw the receipts myself that equate to that 1.9 million rand, the SGB as well as Member of Parliament showing me those receipts. But when you see on the ground the work that's done, it's really non-existent. You saw the state of the toilets yourself. I was actually shocked listening to Steve Mabona speaking on how the work is actually done, but it's shoddy workmanship that has led to that. After 1.9 million rand has been spent, you look at those roofs, for example, some of what he didn't see himself because he wasn't there today. I actually tried to call him out there. The other issue, of course, is around the principal, which we do know, according to the SGB, hasn't been at the school since last year, March. Mabona on the last time we were there with the district manager, for example, mentioning that they'd put in a caretaker principal for 14 days while they try to find out exactly what's the problem with the principal. They now come back and still say that the principal is on sick leave, something that she's entitled to, but I don't think from last year, March, you've been on sick leave. So maybe there needs to be a level of more transparency that needs to happen. But let's take a listen to the Education Department spokesperson in Gauteng, Steve Mabona, on what he had to say to Mfundo earlier on.
We appointed the service provider to do the general maintenance at the school, and they're looking at fixing all those things that needed to be fixed. The electrical as well, there was a problem with electrical, which there's a confirmation that has been fixed. At the general maintenance has been done. The only challenge that we have is the shoddy workmanship that we have experienced from the service provider. And we have instructed that the service provider must come back, working very closely with our infrastructure guys, to say they need to come back and check on the work that we are not happy with, which must be fixed. The second matter was that of making sure that the toilets are fully functional. So we're not sure what happened there as well, because
it seems the toilets have not been functioning.
The problem still persists, because after they left the site, the problem diminished for not a few days, and then moving forward, then there's the same problem. So we are taking them back on site so that they make sure that all that is supposed to be fixed is fixed. Before the end of this week, the service provider should be back.
All right.
Because we have already started making inroads, make sure that we interact. The service provider should be back and make sure that they fix what they're supposed to be fixing.